The whole Gamergate 2 saga, if you want to use that terminology that the journals are implementing, it's World War II. Let's start it off with that. But this entire saga that's transpiring right now in the gaming world kind of feels like Neo in The Matrix taking the red pill and seeing the Matrix for the reality of what it is. That's what gamers are waking up to right now, and journos are scared to death. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And in the latest episode, we're going to be talking about the terminology used by Konami in their latest tweet trying to push Silent Hill 2 Remake, calling it for modern audiences. A terminology that's been used a few times before. It's not the first time I've seen it, but it seems to be propping up more and more, and people are getting wise to it. What these game companies mean by modern audiences, what it's supposed to insinuate, and in some way how you, the gamer, if you don't take to this and open your wallet, you are ergo the problem, and you need to fix yourself. It's an interesting strategy that many companies have tried and failed along the way, but for some reason, they keep going back to it, thinking that if they blame the consumer, maybe they'll get money from them if they feel bad enough. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full article talking about the entire situation of modern audiences. A phrase that Konami probably wishes they didn't use after gamers wised up to it, and it is backfiring spectacularly. Konami and Bloober Team have recently unveiled the latest trailer for their initially much anticipated Silent Hill 2 remake, and the reception was far from anything that they had hoped. The trailer was intended to reignite excitement of long-term fans and attract new players, but instead it fell flat, leaving many feeling betrayed about the new direction. And I know a lot of people keep focusing on the design of Angela and how they basically manified her and made her look like a trans person, or at least a fat person. Whatever you want to say about it, they made her look a lot worse than she used to. But that's not even the half of the issues, at least that I had with the game. The fog effects didn't look nearly as good as they did back on the original. The actual environments, the gameplay, everything about it just doesn't feel scary. It doesn't feel like Silent Hill. The voice acting, the sound effects, everything about it was just wrong. And because I feel like that, I don't think this is a game that I would be purchasing. And Konami is now going on the offensive because people are saying these things to blame the gamers because you don't understand how good the game is. You're the problem. You need to fix yourself and buy our game. The company's subsequent reaction to their initial trailer shown on State of Play from Sony was a posting behind the scenes style video on Twitter. But this only exacerbated the situation, highlighting a troubling trend among major AAA developers. Desperation for everyone to play their game, trying to sell it to the masses because they look at the end result of how much money can we make from this instead of how good can we make the game. In their post, Konami suggested that the remake is geared towards modern audiences, stating specifically, "See how the Bloober Team devs working on Silent Hill 2 preserved authenticity while adapting a horror classic for modern audiences." I used to not look too deep into this stuff. I'd be like, yeah, that's a fairly innocuous tweet where they're just like, here's a game and we're adapting it for gamers. That's someone who doesn't understand what's going on might look at that and see it. But now I look at all this stuff with a much closer eye. I put a magnifying glass on all of it. I'm like, what are they trying to insinuate here when they say these things? Why? Why in the hell would you remake a game and say it's not being remade for fans of the original game? You're literally telling them that they're not going to like it. They're adapting it for people that play games now and like games now. And it insinuates a lot more stuff being shoved into this game that gamers don't want. It's a pathetically transparent attempt to shift the blame onto the gamers themselves, suggesting that if you do not appreciate the changes, you are simply not the target audience anymore, even if you love the original. You, the gamer, are the problem. Blame yourself. And once you finally come to grips with you being the problem, then you can come apologize to Konami and give them your money and say, I'm sorry that I ever said anything about you guys because you know what's best for me. I don't. And that's exactly what these game companies want you to do. Using the term modern audiences is seen by many as a smokescreen, a way to divert attention away from legitimate criticisms about the gameplay changes, the graphical updates, the voice acting, the overall direction that fans feel stray way too far from the original. It points to a disturbing trend that I've been talking about a ton on my channel lately, where companies invoke this inclusivity and representation, not out of genuine commitment, but as a shield against any backlash and a tool for deflection. If you don't like what they're doing with it, you are the problem in their mind. And using the term modern audiences basically implicates you as a gamer saying, hey, if you can't keep up with what gamers like right now, you're getting left behind. And actually, that's the stuff that people used to like, but it's not good anymore. We're gonna make things new and inclusive to make sure it represents people and includes people. It gives a voice to marginalized voices. You need to keep up with the trends so that you can understand what good games are. But people are seeing right through it. I had a conversation with a buddy the other day talking about what's transpiring right now with what a lot of journos, especially over at Kotaku, want to name Gamergate 2, where I would argue it's not Gamergate 2, it's Word War 2, and they put these terms on things to control the narrative, to adjust how you think, to make you agree with them, manipulate your mindset. And sometimes saying stuff like that makes me feel like I need a tinfoil hat on and be like, not a crazy person, trust me. But when you see what's actually happening, it's true. Like, that's the reality for what it is. And I want to be absolutely clear here. I don't have any issue with anyone being gay or trans or bi or whatever the hell you are. I really don't give a shit. Like, if you're two consenting adults not hurting anyone behind closed doors, have at it. It's not my business. I don't ever care for it, nor do I want to see it spewed all over social media or everywhere. You don't have to represent your entire personality based off your sexuality. It's a very strange thing that I see a lot of people on the other side of the fence doing, and I'm like, I don't get that. Like, find a hobby. Holy crap. But that's just my perspective on this. I genuinely don't care. But when it starts spilling out, the floodgates open, and you start seeing this stuff sprayed all over social media, vandalizing it for all to see, and basically making you feel like, as a gamer that is not that, to feel like you're being excluded because that's what inclusivity is. By implying that criticisms are rooted in resistance to inclusion and diversity, Konami is attempting to guilt trip the community into compliance rather than engaging with issues raised by the fans. And in fact, it's the same type of thing that's happening in modern day journalism, where if you don't agree with a narrative and agenda, you are now the bad guy and you should feel bad until you agree with these people because they know what's right for you. It's a situation that I've learned about with how Alyssa Mercante at Kotaku especially. She's someone who creates a narrative, controls a narrative, tells people how to act, controls the rules. Rules for thee, not for me. And if you're not with her, you're against her. And because she can fall back on all these things, you're the bigot, you're the bad guy, and you're in the wrong because of it. It doesn't work anymore like that. People are waking up to it, and the tactics that used to be used are failing. The saga with Konami and the Silent Hill 2 remake can be seen as a microcosm of a larger battle within the gaming industry, one that echoes the contentious days of the original Gamergate. Journos have attempted to call it Gamergate 2, but I don't want to use their tactics and language. This perhaps should be more aptly called Word War 2. At the heart of the conflict lies strategic manipulation of language. Words are no longer just a medium of communication. They have become weapons wielded to shape narratives, enforce ideologies, and stifle dissent. The journos out there in the gaming world are word wizards, and we have learned how they cast their spells. They are no longer effective in manipulating our line of thought. And I've seen it firsthand how these people tried to get SmashJT.com taken down, and I might add successfully did for just over, 35-ish hours until it was back up. Once my website host realized it's just a false flag attack on someone who did nothing wrong, and while all these types of people were taking a victory lap because they're so used to using the words to get their way, they had to eat them and cope and seethe because they were wrong in their attack against me. And they'll do it to you too if you try to dissent. I know personally, firsthand, how they work because it's now impacted me directly. So I guess I don't want to say it's a warning, but word of advice: careful who you listen to out there. Careful who you follow. Careful who you believe. If someone is trying to direct you and tell you how to think and how to act, make sure you question that. I try my best not to do that on this channel. I try to give my thoughts and advice on what's transpiring and why I think a certain way, but I never want to be like, we need to take this website down. We need to control this person. We need to do that. No, we don't. We need to think for ourselves. And I think that's the only need we need to do. And these people, these word wizards, as I call them, hate the fact that we're able to fight back thanks to YouTube and other social media platforms that weren't really necessarily big when the first Gamergate came around. Nowadays, they have to fight fire with fire, and they are losing, like tragically losing. It's embarrassing how badly they are getting beaten right now. And as I've said many times in other videos, the underlying motives become evident when one follows the money trail. The rise of diversity, equity, and inclusion consulting firms in recent years has signaled a shift in the entire dynamic of the video game industry. These firms advocate for the integration of specific ideologies into all facets of corporate operations, including game development, which in turn attracts investments from financial behemoths like BlackRock and Vanguard. This is not a grassroots movement born out of genuine concern for representation. It's a calculated strategy to enhance financial appeal and secure investments. Always follow the dollar. The true agenda is the injection of a particular ideology into gaming, irrespective of whether it fits the context or narrative of the overall game itself. This is a new word war. Journalists and companies are working together, scrambling to maintain their grip on the narrative. They no longer have the uncontested gatekeepers of public opinion. Gamers, thanks to the rise of these platforms, are more informed and vocal than ever, challenging the status quo, refusing to be browbeaten into acceptance. The power dynamics are shifting, and traditional media outlets are losing their ability to manipulate the masses with impunity. In a weird way, it's kind of helping the direction of the game industry because of the course correction we're on right now. But you can't claim victory just yet. We have a hell of a road ahead of us. But at least right now, it kind of feels like getting the general public mind shifting into the right line of thought where we know what the enemy is and what their tactics are is step one. Step two is standing your ground, which is exactly what I did when they tried to take my website down, trying to speak facts, showing them a mirror of the types of individuals that these people truly are. I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information on the Word War saga, check out SmashJT.com. I have this full article. I will link it in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing. Smash JT. Smash JT. Smash JT.